Hello, hello, hello. This is Essence Evolve, your awakening coach, facilitator, teacher, advocate for helping you to find you inside of you. Welcome wherever you are. And please, 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 if you will, support this podcast by not only hitting that subscribe button and the like button, but also share this because our planet, our earth, where we reside at, it is really waking up. And what I mean by it is waking up, people are beginning to question and ask themselves the question, who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? And many of us are pulling off the layers or the layers of what somebody else has said, what somebody else have thought about us. We're pulling off those layers and we're beginning to question and find us inside of us. And when you begin to take that deep dive to find you inside of you, it's not going to always be a pretty picture, but it's going to be a good picture. You're going to find the good, the bad, the ugly. But I tell you, you're going to mostly find the good that is within you and has been there all the time. So without further ado, as they say, let's get with it. Let's move into finding you inside of you. And I want to tap into a writer that I have a lot of respect for and have had a lot of respect for, who is Maya Angelou. And she wrote this book, and many of you may be familiar with it. I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. And it's a metaphor of a bird in a cage. And at that time, she's really telling you the story of her life about being like a bird in a cage, during that time, that era when she grew up, feeling suffocated like a bird in a cage. And so I took from that writing, and I'm not taking away from her, but I took away from that writing and had to bring it into real time for myself. So I want to quote something from myself to myself that I wrote about myself, about finding you inside of you. I too know why a caged bird sings. It sings because it knows that it does not belong in a cage. So one day, as I was sitting with myself and thinking to myself and becoming more self-awareness of myself, I heard this small voice within myself saying, caged bird, why are you still sitting in your cage? The door has always been open. All you had to do was flap your wings and fly outside of your cage. So what does that mean? What that means is that we have the ability, we have the power to fly outside of our cage anytime we feel like it. It's a choice that we make to find us inside of us. And I'm going to thank again my partner, which I'm considering a partner, partnering with me, William, on my podcast again today. We did a podcast on yesterday, and maybe you didn't see the one from yesterday, and that's okay. Just go back and look at that one, because we're going to pick up where we left off at with this discussion about finding you inside of you. And my objective for today's podcast is to bring awareness of what is within us. And for a topic, we choose to suffer. And I'm going to have William to jump in just a second. I kind of want to give us the appetizer, and then we get to go to the buffet and eat what you want to eat from the buffet, which is yourself. Okay? So we choose to suffer. Now, that's a pretty controversial topic that hits the heart of the self, because we may be asking ourselves, or you may be asking yourself, or like I asked myself at one point in time, how did I choose to suffer? I didn't choose to suffer. I didn't choose any of this. But I want to read something to you. Suffering comes from within our own subconscious thinking based on what we choose to tell ourselves what to think. I'm going to read that last part again. Based on what we choose to tell ourselves what to think. We have been programming and reprogramming our own selves with many of the things we are currently experiencing. And I will add, what happened has been brought into our present, and we're still currently experiencing what we don't want in our lives. We unconsciously are the victims of our own thinking. Therefore, the victim becomes the victim, which is us. What are your thoughts about that, William?
That's actually really good, and I'm actually finding myself again while reading this. But what I would say is that choosing to suffer is a very is strategic how you put that, because when I think about the choices that I made, my choices were made based on um, me choosing to suffer, and now I'm thinking like, wow, hold on. So a lot of times, I had a conversation with my brother a couple of weeks ago about the environment we grew up in,
Mm-hmm.
and statistically what we should be based on where we come from, or how far our parents went in school, and just the different things like that. So there's an already projected outcome
Yep.
of as
Yep.
to what it is we're supposed to be and do. And so we've accepted that narrative as to what we should be doing based on that projected outcome. So choosing to suffer means that I am going to allow what people spoke about as far as fate in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking in that thinking that there is no other choice, there's no other direction. So every choice that I make, when I'm saying, well, I'm doing this because I didn't have one of the major
Yeah.
excuses, I'm doing, reason why I'm not good to my kids because I didn't have a father growing up. So we use that narrative, or we use that environmental thing, and it shapes us. But really, it's your choice whether you want to be a good father or not, whether you had one or you didn't have one. That should not change who you're supposed to be to your children.
That's right.
So I'm choosing to suffer by allowing my environmental circumstances, my finances, or whatever, to create excuses for me to just live the life that other people had fate concerning what it is I'm supposed to be doing. So
Yeah.
when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, this is important when you're finding yourself, because now we have to figure out some of the predicaments that we're in. Why did I choose this road? Why did I decide to marry this person? Why did I decide to go? Because a lot of times we just avoid certain signs. We avoid certain things that we know is not
That's
for
right.
us, simply because of a cultural belief or a religious belief or whatever it is. So I'm choosing to suffer because I don't even know where I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah. That's and you know what? That's good. And I'm gonna take us on around the curve with what you're saying
Okay.
about you, and that was good. And see, the thing about this, when you're having these discussions with ourselves, other people's um, issues or things that happen to them are very similar to ours.
Yes, ma'am.
They're
Yes, ma'am.
very similar to ours when we look at it. But I had to make a few notes here because I'm hearing what you're saying, and it's recalling some things that was buried inside of my own subconscious mind that I didn't realize. And when you're talking about your environment, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote down choosing to still feel rejected,
Mm. Okay.
choosing to still feel that you have low self-worth,
Wow.
choosing to still believe that nobody cares and nobody loves me. And let me put a comma right there for a second. We're living in this society now where there's just a lot of disgruntledness among people and relationships.
Yes.
Nobody cares anymore. Nobody's kind anymore. Well, I beg the difference with that because there are people that still care. There are people that are still kind and all the things that we think that people are not. It's just that we have to choose to change our environments.
Yes.
We have to choose to change our tribe and our people. But moving forward, that victim mentality, that choice to suffer is the things that we tell ourselves, I'm too dark, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have the education, all those things that we have been programmed to believe outside of ourselves that we are not enough. So therefore, unconscious to us, we choose these behaviors. And we don't know, William, that we are really self-sabotaging ourselves, and we're the ones that are choosing to suffer because unconscious to us, we have become the victim.
Mm-hmm.
So listen to this for a second. We've become the victim. We have become the hunter and the prey.
Mm.
Now, think about that. We're the hunter because we're hunting for something, and then we self-sabotage ourselves, and then we become the prey.
Uh-huh.
So we become into this duality of mindset because we're choosing to tell ourselves what to think. See, we're moving from the outside world now into the inside world because I'm choosing these things. Okay? So I become the target, I become the object, I become the sufferer.
Mm.
And suffering can happen in silence. You can be so beautiful and even have all the money. You can have all the things, but you're suffering in silence. I choose to be depressed.
Yeah.
I choose to just pick one inside of yourself and say, with honesty with myself, nobody made me choose that. I choose to oversleep. I choose to not answer the call. I choose to not create. I choose to not do the things I know I am capable of doing.
Yes.
I choose to sleep 45 billion hours in a day. I'm being sarcastic. Rather than getting up when I feel that unction to go and take the chance and create something in my imagination, because we all are entrepreneurs, believe it or not.
Right.
The choice to continue to injure yourself. Why do we keep injuring ourselves? I told the story one time, and it's a true story. I love chips, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chips. And I was trying to get away from that kind of thing, right? And so I chose to just eat them, right? Because, they put things in food to get you addicted if you didn't already know that.
Yes, ma'am.
And so over in the morning, late in the midnight hour, William, I'm going to run to the bathroom. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
But see, I chose that because I had that experience before. Because when you're choosing to not eat things that's not good for your system, and you choose it anyway, and you have stopped eating certain things that's not good for your system, it's called cleaning it out, and you put that back into your system is saying, oh, what is this you're doing again?
Right.
Oh, you're bringing something foreign back into my body that I thought I was done with. So I chose that. I chose to hurt my stomach. I chose to have a stomach ache. And someone would say, no, you didn't. Yes, I did. Because I chose something that I knew wasn't good for me. And you talked about relationships.
Yes.
You choose someone who's not good for you, and you already know it because you saw the red flags. You chose to be in places where you shouldn't be, and these people don't care about you. They hurt your feelings. They talk trash about you behind your back.
Yes.
Sometimes to your face, using sarcasm or gaslighting. But you chose the suffering. Go ahead, William.
So Miss Essen, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, ask me.
So I'm listening to this, and I'm really finding some golden nuggets in this when it comes to choosing to suffer. But my question would be for people that are still in a place where they're trying to figure out who they are. How do you decipher, or how do you know that the choices that you're making are choices that you're choosing to suffer based and not just I'm trying to do what grandma told me or Nana told me I should do it like this? When do we have that point where we notice that I'm actually making choices to my own suffering?
You know, William, that is an excellent question. And it has a real simple answer.
Okay.
How does it make you feel?
Okay. Okay.
How does it make you feel? And a lot of times a person, the outside doesn't have to say anything. You see, the divine God gave us a heart, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And a brain too. But what happens is, now this is me saying this, we do it backwards. Because we go to the brain and start thinking and start analyzing. But if you listen to that heart,
okay,
guided by that heart, which is the filler, because the heart is the first organ that is developed. It develops before anything else in this human body. It's the heart. So how important was that to the divine, to God, that I had to put this in you, and it's called a heart. So to answer your question, how does it make you feel?
That's good.
You know, you may not know anything, and you may not even know how to read a book or anything. But one thing about us all, we all know what feelings are like. How does it make me feel?
That's good.
Whether I find me inside of myself or not. Here we go. Whether I find me inside of me or not, I felt something, William, was off.
Right. Right.
I felt something just wasn't right. See, I'm still going back to answer your question about the feeling.
Right.
So whether you are taking this journey or choose to take this journey or not, and I'm hoping that you are, it's how you feel on the inside.
That's good.
Even with those chips, I felt I shouldn't be eating them, but I made the choice to eat them anyway because I felt like I wanted that taste. So it's about the feeling.
The feeling.
How does that make you feel? How do people make you feel? How do your own self make you feel?
Yes.
And then
that's good.
It links to your feelings. Now, here's where the brain comes in. They're still asking your question.
Yes.
Then it starts what I think about what I feel, what I believe about what I feel, and what I see that relates to what I feel. And then it's going to swing you right back around to your choice.
Yes.
Because inside of you is a feeler. And I'm going to put a pause so you can jump back in, William. Because you see, we have been so taught not to love ourselves. We have been so taught to love everything and everybody, but to love yourself, to feel. That has been a taboo.
Yes.
Because it deems you as not being humble.
Right.
It deems you as being arrogant and not thinking about other people, just thinking about yourself. Well, to think about other people, I have to think about myself.
Yes.
Because as I think about myself and feel good about myself, I'm going to feel good about you. All right, go ahead, William.
That's good. So you, I'm going to keep it short and sweet because you've opened up some different departments in my brain. But what I will say about what you just said that was very profound is simply the five senses that we're and mainly feeling. The touch, the feel, how we feel. So how I feel, I was born with the ability to feel, to process what makes me happy, what makes me sad, what makes me angry, what makes me anxious. So I was born with that. So the natural tools that God, the divine, has given us,
that's right,
helps us decipher the choices. So even if, like you said, if I'm illiterate, I can't read, I don't know about writing, I don't know about electronics, technology, the simple fact that he gave me certain senses allows me to, it tells me about triggers even when I don't know the person. So you can walk around a person and just feel something like, something ain't right. You know, me and my wife play this game with each other sometimes, and we be, and one of us, you know, may have had a bad day, but we don't want to bring it in the house. We don't want to take it home, but you just feel something ain't right. And, you
Right.
know, like, you know, you good today? Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. Oh no, it just don't, something don't feel right. So when you said that, it just alerted me, like, how many times have I ignored the basics of being able to decipher choices, like the very basics of
Yes.
it? Like, we think it's got to be something profound, and you got to receive all of this stuff. And even in ministry, if you think about church, a lot of times we override who we are as a being because we want the spirit inside of us to do certain things, or we're looking for an outside guide.
Yeah.
But what if I told you that the very basics of decision making that you needed was already inside of you,
And it is.
and you just needed to enhance it by trusting what's in you? It's hard to trust what's in you because of again, like we were talking about yesterday, what other people may have said or created the narrative concerning you. But I'll in my part was saying this: when you talked about what we believe, what we think, what we feel, and what we see, those four simple things will have us making such great choices in our lives. If we just go by what we think. What do you think about this? What do
Right.
you believe? You know, outside of what everybody else telling you, what do you believe? What do you feel? Like, outside of what everybody else is feeling, what do you feel? And then what do you see? Because my perception of this, of what's going on, could be totally different than your perception. But I should go by what I see, and
Right.
not what you're telling me I
Uh-huh.
should see. You know, on
Uh-huh.
Facebook and Instagram, they had these pictures, and they were like, when you look at this picture, what do you see? Do you see if you see a dog, that means you think like this. If you see a cat, that means you think like this. But we're
Or if
being
you
lazy.
see that word.
Yes. So now it's like, what do you see? And it's
That's
not
right.
wrong based on what you see as your perception is not wrong. So I just wanted to piggyback off what you were saying,
Yeah.
but that was really good.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'm gonna piggyback on something that you were saying, which was really, really, really great. You mentioned about the five senses. Okay.
Yes.
That's just like an appetizer that the divine has given us.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's your pre GPS, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But when you take that and move beyond the five senses, you go into what's called awareness. That's above the five senses.
Yes.
Because the five senses, and see, we haven't been taught that, you all. We stopped at the five senses,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
We did. Because that's as far as they could take you. Nobody can take you further than you need to go except for yourself.
Mm.
Remember that. Nobody can take you further than you need to go except for yourself. All right? So the five senses, it only took you as far as somebody else knew to take you, but it's your job to go beyond the five senses, which is called your divinity.
Mm.
Your divinity comes when you step into your divine self or your higher self, when you move out of your natural self. So your natural self operates in the five senses, what I can see, taste, smell, feel, and hear. But when you step into your finding you inside of you and go within,
Mm-hmm.
the kingdom is within.
Mm-hmm.
That means God, universe, creator, it, all of these that you can't even explain it. All you know is just that something is greater than everything I see outside of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And this kingdom, this knowledge, this intelligence, this it is inside of me. The kingdom is within. And that's what Jesus, I'm not going to get into that, but you can't get into that without getting into this, because that brought you to this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So the kingdom is within. That means the truth is within you. Who do you say that you are? Okay? And that's when the awareness, William, comes in
Mm-hmm.
at. Because the kingdom, that's what the kingdom is revealing. It's bringing to your awareness of who you are. And it goes beyond the five senses. That's just the appetizer. That's just what's outside of you. I see this pencil. I hear whatever it is I hear.
Mm-hmm.
I see myself on this camera, okay? That's low-level thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go, and there's nothing wrong with that, because that gets you to the buffet, where you have all these other doors that you go within. In my Father's house, and I prefer to use the word in the Creator's house, which I am the house, okay, are many doors, are many compartments of me, are many parts of me. And when you don't do your own introspection and go within, you don't find you inside of you. You've always will find what's outside of you, what has been programmed to you, and what we were trained and wired as children, and we brought into our adulthood, was into our subconscious mind, and it became a belief. It became a tradition. It became me, and the me that I feel says, I don't like macaroni and cheese. I never liked it anyway. I'm just eating it because somebody said cheese is good for you, or somebody said this is good for you. So I did this and I did it all of these umpteen years. But when I came to myself, here we go. But when I came to myself, William,
Mm-hmm.
and I began to feel that something outside of me doesn't align with what I have been feeling. And I read in my book, Come Out of Your Cocoon, about seeing your wing, just one of them, the lavender color in your wing, or which is a metaphor when I saw just a tad bit of me.
Yes.
And the tad bit of me could just be, I like myself. I'm glad I'm me.
Yes.
There is nothing wrong with me. I've been trying to change and do this and trying to fit into this, and it never did fit. You know, I've been trying to wear these shoes and they hurt my feet, and I couldn't wait to take them off after the party.
Right.
You understand? But because they say this is how you're supposed to look, I'm going to have to go with this one. This is how they say you're supposed to look to attract the man. I beg the difference. You be yourself and you will attract whatever you're supposed to have anyway.
Yes.
Because that goes with the law of attraction, or the attraction, or the universe. Whatever is for you, you will attract it. And whatever you are, here we go, you're going to attract it too. If you're a mean, bitter, unhappy person, those are the kind of people you're going to attract. Okay?
Good.
If you are happy, joyful, want to move forward in your life, guess what? Along the way, that's who you're going to attract. So like does attract like. And it's still a choice because you choose to be wherever you was at because that's what you felt like I wanted to do because you believe that that would make you a better person or this, that, and the other. But when you walk away, glamorous looking and all, something wasn't right because you had a feeling.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, William?
That's good. And we actually play these scenarios out every day.
Yes, we do.
We do this every day. So, Miss Essence, when you're talking, I'm thinking about like, wow, how many times have we did this at work? How many times have we did this at church? How many times have we did this at the grocery store? Where we, have to do something. I mean, there's even been times where you would overspend simply because you had to have a certain brand. Because if you didn't have a certain brand, then people look at you like, well, why you got that? But I really like this. I really like the off-brand cereal. I love the taste. There's nothing wrong with it for me. But somebody else, because of the narrative spun on, oh, you must be broke or whatever.
Yeah.
We condition ourselves to believe that this is better.
That's right.
And
That's
it has
exactly
nothing to do with what I think, what I believe, what I feel, or what I see. It's based on things outside of me, which is not right. In the long run, we become clones and robots.
Yes, we do.
And
clone our own self.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'm going to end with now I want to go back to something you said because you say such profound things. You really do. Because it sparks other things within me, we bounce off of each other, right? Because we are in alignment.
Right.
But we do this so unconsciously every day.
Every day.
But the thing about it is, the more we find inside of ourselves, we begin to not do that as much.
Exactly.
And then not doing it as much, we're breaking that habit.
Right.
We're breaking that formula, if you will, because we're creating or we are reinventing ourselves.
Right.
Because we are boosting up our own self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to have that to be accepted.
Yes.
I don't need to be that to accept
yes,
it.
absolutely.
I don't have to be around the in crowd just to be accepted. Let me tell you something about the in crowd. Our perception of the in crowd. Look at Hollywood, what's happening with Hollywood even today. And people's perceptions of wanting to be like certain actors and actresses in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you be honest with yourself and to thine own self be true, you step back, and it's not egoish to say what I'm getting ready to say. You step back and you're like, dang, I was better than them and didn't even realize it.
Yes.
I'm trying to be like somebody else who's all jacked up and
Yes.
pat myself on the shoulder for a second.
That's right.
I did have some things going on.
That's right.
You understand? So, like what you're saying, when you really look at it, trying to keep up with everybody else. And here we go with the 5 senses. I'm trying to look, feel, think, believe, act like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But on the inside of me, I'm like, I'm not feeling that. So as we increase our own self-awareness and begin to move beyond just the 5 senses and follow your own heart, follow your own drum beat.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you feel happiest? Not based upon what the society or your people on your job. I don't care where you're at. What do you say? And I'm going to end this part with this, and we'll continue this. When you wake up, you, we, me, I must shift into knowing that we are in charge and in control of our own life. Because nobody makes us choose to do nothing, whether it's good for you or not good for you. The bottom line is we create our suffering by our choices because we're not following our heart. This is Essence Evolve. Thank you, William, for sharing in this podcast and questions and just being your authentic self.
Yes,
and I am being my authentic self because it is a journey.
yes.
So this is Essence Evolve. Please share this podcast, and I will just ask you again, hit that subscribe button and make sure you share it. And until the next time, we will continue this journey of you finding you inside of you. Shalom, peace, ashe, and amen.